Thank you so much for your attention. In this industry, we're all fighting for attention. And if you don't put a good picture in front, nobody's going to click, leave alone see. And this whole talk is about how to get those good pictures to make people click. So I'm going to introduce the economics of metadata in a few slides and then go to the demo directly. Nothing better than actually showing this working. You'll see why there's a dinosaur that's been put up there very soon. Just a quick introduction. We are 7 years old. We are Sensara Technologies. We are full stack AI for video from the point of understanding it to this new thing called video transformation that we are working on, where if you have the ability to identify something interesting in video, can you go modify the video itself in real time? And for doing all this, we essentially license our technology to the big tier one. Some of our customers are here as well. Airtel has been our first customer, so this office is great for me to visit. We work with ZEE5, Disney, Surya Chitra Media in Indonesia, Sony. There's a super awesome project that we've been doing for Sony, MultiChoice in South Africa, and a few more. You wouldn't get to see us because it's somewhere lying in the back end, but a lot of these are getting integrated, and you'll see the kind of applications that we'll be powering very soon. So we all love metadata, and here's an example of how metadata looks when everything's going right. Here's a movie like Interstellar. You'll have a beautiful poster, several different types of banners, very detailed set of genres. You're probably not reading all of this. Things like Interstellar is about artificial intelligence. In fact, it even is about family relationships. So it goes deep into what is the genre, what's the micro genre of this movie. You'll always have a trailer and you have a set of cast and crew. And this is today essential. If you can't, when have you clicked on a video which doesn't have a poster image, right? You simply don't. And these days the expectation is that you want a trailer as well. It so turns out that it's very, very hard to do. When you then look at the whole world of videos, you'll have the head, the torso, and the tail. This is an example of a head video, blockbuster. Somebody's going to put in a lot of effort into this one poster itself. Somebody's probably gone through iterations of tens of people to figure out how to get this. Then you have the torso. A torso video is like, maybe you look at this serial called Anupama, which probably 8 to 9% of India watches on a daily basis. Every day they're producing new shows. That show needs a poster still, right? It's not a blockbuster, but it's still torso. So think of all the serials in every language that is coming out on a daily basis. Even that needs metadata. Even that needs a trailer or a promotion that you need to put and then make people actually put that into their mental calendar and say, I want to come and watch this. So what is hard is to get all of this right for the torso. Then you have the tail. The tail is like, hey, I mean, a video like this is the long tail, right? So, you do a product review, you push it off into YouTube. Now, what happens is the quality of metadata for torso and tail is rather weak, and it does have a big impact on everything else. So if you don't have good metadata, you can't create engaging content discovery experiences. There's a follow-up talk on recommendations, and if you don't have metadata, there's no recommendations. Okay. So what is metadata? And we're just looking at entertainment quality video. We've come up with some kind of a hierarchy of what all goes into this. You have visual metadata, poster, banner, trailer, scenes, actor images, binge markers. Binge markers is this is the credit roll. This is the maybe a pre-cap or a recap, and you want to give a skip for that, right? So these are all the visual metadata pieces. You have descriptive metadata, textual, the title, synopsis, plot, description, who are the characters there. Semi-structured, show type, genres, micro genres, what are the content areas, what is this movie about, what is this show about. Then you have structured ones, ratings, because you want to use this. I mean, people say, oh, give me IMDb rating, and then I want to push the ones that are on top. Although IMDb rating is not a very good way of ranking, but you need some kind of a rating to be able to rank things as well, right? So there's a lot of this, and the idea is, can I, how much of these can I populate? Now, is my metadata sparse? Is my metadata rich enough? I want to delve like a couple of minutes on the economics of this. All assets do not cost the same. It's very expensive to generate one type of metadata. Trailer is probably a lot more expensive to generate. Posters are the next. Scenes, in fact, require tagging at almost the entire movie. Somebody needs to mark in, mark out on the whole show. So you have some kind of, and obviously if it's textual, it costs a little bit lesser. So there's a cost to metadata. Then there's a distribution of, since I've given you a hierarchy of what types of things are there, and this is an actual analysis on a major OTT player's depth of metadata, where we go and we crawl this and found out what is the richness of metadata. So a lot of them just focus on these, like the cast information and maybe high level genre, and it becomes rather weak into the others. So what this says is like the distribution of multi-value attributes for a given asset, you will notice that most of them are like kind of weak in those areas. If metadata is weak, outlink and inlink distribution becomes even worse. So what is outlink? It means if I'm on this title, because all recommender systems tend to use metadata to point to other related assets, right? How many of these assets in this OTT site actually have another video being linked out, right? So it so turns out that most of them have zero because their metadata is weak. And I'm not talking about a recommendation where you just recommend the same thing for everyone, right? That's not a recommendation. It's just you're just giving trending. As an effect of this, because of this whole power law, the inverse of it looks even worse. What ends up happening is most of the assets will never have someone linking back into them, which means the chance of them getting traffic is rather quite low. Now all of this needs to be addressed. Unless it's addressed, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, right? So if you are a P&L owner and you need to work on ensuring the shelf life of content, the value that you get out of content is high, then you have to work on the metadata problem. So the key question is, can AI help make this more economical? So that's my deck. Now we've looked at video not from a machine learning angle, but from a video retrieval angle. If you've studied these fields a bit deeper, you will realize that information retrieval and machine learning are not the same. When you study retrieval, you focus a little bit more on the semantics of what is happening inside. So we've tried to study a video and try to find out like what is happening in video. So I'll take 2 minutes to describe how is video made. Okay, so and let's just look at a movie. So there is a script. Script becomes screenplay. Script is basically I told this, you told this, right? In screenplay, I told this with a mic in hand and walking around, right? That is screenplay. Then you have the art director who comes in and says, yeah, this is happening in an office setting with certain props that are sitting out here with a view of the skyline of Bangalore, right? So all of this is where the art director comes in, and then you have the director who comes in finally, where you have all of the setup. He comes and say, hey, I want 4 cameras, and these are the shots. This should focus on this. This should focus on this person. Okay. Okay. Video is taken. The editor starts his work, and then he mixes all shots together, and he creates a scene. What is a shot? A shot is a video that is shot at one point in time from a single camera, right, in the same place. Either the subject may be moving or the camera itself may be moving. Okay, this is a shot. A scene is an event that happens at one point in time in a given place. Then at a higher level you have a chapter. Chapter is like a unit of the story where you have this, if you know Ramayana, it's like Aranyakanda is a chapter, right? So it's a unit of the entire story, and you know that the story progresses from here to here. Every chapter will have its key actors, right, and so on. So we started looking at this and said, like, can we, all this information was lost, can we try to get this back? Can we try to understand this? And we look at multimodal attributes. Who are the people in this scene? Are they important to this movie, right? What defines importance of a person is you need to have more screen time. Okay, what is an important scene? An important scene is one where important people in the movie interact with each other. If they're just doing normal things like just talking to each other, it's not important enough. So you need to show something that is extreme. What is extreme? Either intense action, show of blood, or extreme emotion, someone who's angry, and so on, right? So these are all concepts that we pick up from retrieval, where to identify what is unique about a document, there's this seminal work called inverse document frequency that happened. So we are applying something like this in this domain and identifying, okay, key things happen when rare things happen to important people, and we've built a model that understands this. Again, to find all this, we study audio, is there speech, is there music, and so on, and we've converted video, which is a timeline, into what is called as an interval tree. What's an interval tree is you have different spans. Person appears here, vanishes over here. There's a music that starts here, ends over here. Key scenes ends over here or starts over here, and all of this is identified, and then we try to put retrieval functions on top. So think of this as about 12 to 15 types of classifiers that are running all the time, which has now come and tagged all of these intervals, and then we want to see some output on this. So I have something ready. Here's an example of certain key types of movies. There's a couple of shows like Spartacus, Game of Thrones, couple of episodes from Star Wars. Nobody's told us what these are. These are just raw videos at this stage, and nothing other than the title has been given to us. Let's see what all we are able to infer. Okay, so this is Kingsman. At this stage, at the level of a movie, what it's able to tell is, hey, I have this this emotion profile. There's a lot of happiness, there's some amount of anger, and then this fear that is being shown. But importantly, the genres are it's comedy, science fiction, action, drama. It's in a sequence based on how important they are. This is the cast information. All of this is automatically inferred because we have a Face ID database of ton of people. This is Avengers, science fiction, adventure, action, fantasy. This is Game of Thrones, fantasy, adventure, action, history. Red Notice, action, thriller, adventure, crime. So you'll notice that some of these genres are kind of entering, and if you've seen these movies, you'll recognize that it's kind of doing a good job. This is Aladdin. Notice that family entered here, fantasy, adventure, musical, and family. This is Star Wars, science fiction, adventure, family, fantasy. This is RRR, history, war, action, drama. So how are we inferring genres, it's interesting to find out. So we are using visual indicators to, based on the type of scenes that are shot, to infer genre. So we did multiple experiments. Some people said, hey, try to get the plot from maybe Wikipedia and try to find out. uh, uh, Interesting thing, but we found out it massively fails because it's very hard to find comedy from a plot. Comedy is very, very visual, and sometimes comedy, satire, or even tragedy are hard to infer from just pure text. You have to get into the visual domain. And sometimes even visual is not enough, you need to get sound in as well. But if you largely see this kind of converging, now let's go dive deeper. Right? So this is the entire movie of RRR, but I've not just given you high-level aggregate of what is the genres, but scene by scene I've put the genre in. So so I click on adventure here. It gives me a timeline and says this is where adventure is. I just tap on that. So far it had cached it, but let's see if it can seek it and play. Okay. Okay, adventure part, fine. And there are other sections in the movie as well. I'll also go to the next one. Okay, so now let's go to horror. Okay, this is a horror scene, lot of blood, darkness, something's creeping upon him. Let me do a musical. Right, this is that part of the movie, right? So, what is essentially happening here is this kind of tagging is not just happening at the level of the entirety of the show, but we've brought it down to the scene level. And you can imagine potential applications for this. This is still a back-end view of things. We've not fully explored how this is going to transform consumer experiences, because no one's thought about putting a layer of discovery on top of video when it's playing, right? Okay, somebody's done X-ray and done so much PR, but imagine this. Of course, this already solves X-ray. Let's just prove that. Right, tells you who are the people on this show. Oh, if you want to get all the scenes with Ram Charan, yeah, we have that. Right, so it's an index of almost everything that's happening into the movie, brought in as an interval tree that's available here for you to do analysis and do things on top. So we got this out there. We started working with our customers, and they were like, oh, can you get this use case done? Can you do that use case done? And some beautiful use cases have come about. Let me showcase one. So this we think is the future of a tool like Adobe Creative Pro. When we spoke to all the people in the content ops divisions, right, and we asked them like, what takes the most amount of time when people are working on content? Okay? They tell us this one thing called mark in, mark out. You have to watch the entire video to mark when a scene starts, when a scene ends. This is laborious amount of. Now, what if I give you a tool that says no mark in, mark out required? Assume it just works, right? And now what can you do with it? So a couple of use cases. This is RRR. I want a Alia Bhatt cut out of RRR, right? So let's try that. So video is loaded onto this browser. I'm just going to go here. Say give me. Oops. Sorry about that. Need to wait for a minute or so. it's worth the wait. Let me see if I can show something else while that comes up. Okay, this is another application. I have Game of Thrones, and you want poster art. Okay, now what generally happens in content is the first time something is released, people will come and watch it, but after that there's no repeat viewing. You might have made, like, how many of you, I know Patan released on Prime, how many of you watched it the second time? Right, 0. How many of you watched RRR the second time? Did you watch the whole movie second time? After it came on OTT, right? Just once. Now, these are the most expensive assets. Nobody's watching them the second time, right? You need to create new ways to get people to. So you have to think about things like, okay, this week is Alia Bhatt's birthday. Let me get an Alia Bhatt cut out of it. This week is Ajay Devgan's birthday, right? So all of these are different angles that you need to think about to get there. Now, you can't use the same poster when you're trying to get people to watch the same asset again. So can you make posters on the fly? So the whole thing has been indexed, and I'm going to come here. Just for the sake of this, I'll add the logo for Game of Thrones. Okay. One click, you get posters. Okay. Right, posters to go with, and it obviously has information about it. It actually looks a little bit better here. It has information about where the important faces are and so on. Then you're like, okay, give me posters on Sean Bean, give me posters on Kit Harington. Right. You can also go back and say, hey, yeah, you've been giving me landscape, now give me portraits. It's like fully dynamic, and at any stage, if you want, you can check out a few and export them and take them with you and publish it into your CMS. Okay. Okay, this one's here. So now let's do this. So I've just taken shots in which Alia Bhatt is visible, and I'm going to play this. Every time it seeks, it's going to show this buffering, but ignore that. So it's actually showing this part of the thing. There's Alia Bhatt for a couple of frames, and then it has to jump to the next one. So, okay, you're not liking this, right? What went wrong? You asked for Alia Bhatt, I gave you Alia Bhatt. But it so happens that if you just pick up the frames in which Alia Bhatt is there, it's not enough. You need scenes in which Alia Bhatt is there. So I'm going to redo this, and I purposely did this to convey the message that it's actually not just about identifying a person. You need to get scene retrieval right. What I'm going to do different this time is, instead of saying add shots, I'm going to add scenes, and now let's play this. See, there's no Alia Bhatt in this frame. There's no Alia Bhatt in this frame, but she's there in the scene, right? Right? You can't get Alia Bhatt in this, right? So, which is why you need to get scenes right. And how do we do that? This is how we see the whole thing, right? So we know that there's an object, there is music, there is speech, there's a key shot that's starting here, ending there, and so on. And all of this is used to get the scene segmentation. Okay. One more example of this, and we'll jump forward. Let's do Ajay Devgan. So one click, one more click, and I'm going to do a preview. So there's no Ajay Devgan here, but why did we pick to start from here? So this is where he kind of enters, and you want to get that entry right. Right. So all of these are aspects that we kind of take into thing. I think we've not even touched the surface here of how much of work that needs to go into getting all of this right. So we did so much. Our customer liked this, and he's like, "Hey, let's try and do shorts. Let's try and do posters." And it turns out that their CMS systems can't even handle. Most of the CMS systems today are provisioned to have like one poster per title, and we are like, I can give you 20, I can give you 30. So you have to relook at how we are going to build CMS systems, and you're looking at X-ray kind of features. So there's some distance to go there, and you also need to get this to scale. All that work is happening, and we got this done for entertainment. Right? And people in the industry are like, what is their AI kar dega? Right? And they're like, can you do this for cricket? Okay, so so every genre is so different. You start this on. In fact, even inside genres, we look at this. So we started work on cricket, and we have something super interesting there. We'll probably end with this there. Now, this is like a 4-hour game. Which game is this? Okay, so this is a 4-hour game, and I want to get like a quick highlight of whatever is happening. Now, what was a scene there can't be a scene here. What's a shot there can't be, right? The semantics are very, very different. So here we have this notion of what is a ball, what's a shot, right? So there is a player close-up, catches, side views, crowd, match summary, and all of this. And then we came up with new types of classifiers to figure out when a ball starts and when a ball ends. If you ever played cricket, there's this notion of the ball going dead, right? Now, how do you get that from generic video? I'll just play this. Oops, sorry, I lost this also. Let me see if I can just play this and. So this is the first cut of that, where we've tried to segment out exactly the act of the bowler coming and bowling onto the crease and the batsman hitting that out. There's another version of this where we are trying to get it to the stage where the ball goes dead. If it loads up, I can show. Okay. So tremendous applications for this because essentially cricket has a lot of time that's wasted. So this entire act of this bowler coming and bowling and the ball going dead normally lasts 4 seconds to 6 seconds. And then there's a whole 45-50 seconds of time pass that happens where people are just dressing around, and they're all opportunities for you to roll in ads, roll out ads, and so on. So, and you want to do this live to be able to get that going. Okay, so let me end this here, but happy to kind of show more and have an extended discussion.